Hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? So, in honor of Breath of the Wild 2's announcement trailer, which I break that down, analyze it, go into depth on that in another video on the channel, so go check that out if you haven't already. I decided what better time than now to start ranking all of the Legend of Zelda games. So, starting out, we have S through D ranked, and then I have a low rank here that I've already populated with the games that I just haven't played yet. I haven't gotten around to it. I haven't really had much time to play any of the Four Swords Adventures games. And Hyrule Warriors, I've played it a little bit with my girlfriend on co-op, and I just never got the chance to play through it fully, so I don't really have an opinion on it yet. So, let's just jump into the rest of the list. So at D rank, I'm going to put Triforce Heroes because I really wasn't able to play this game with anyone, so it just felt clunky. It didn't really feel like a Zelda game. It's so segmented with the levels, and it's meant to be a multiplayer experience. I think that the wardrobe aspects of it pretty cool. I like the art style. I like the graphics. I like how it looks and feels, but the gameplay, it just doesn't grab me because I didn't have anyone to play it with. I'm sure that would have maybe changed my opinion a little bit, but for right now, it's D. And I'm gonna put The Adventure of Link here in D rank too, because unpopular opinion, I think it's a really good game, but it's not a good Zelda game, in my opinion. It feels a lot more Metroidvania-y. It just doesn't have the same kind of heart and soul in the series. Like, I get it, they were branching out from the first game, they wanted to try something new, but it just wasn't for me. So, that's why it's at D. And then, to round out the D ranking, I'm actually gonna grab Phantom Hourglass, and I know you've all probably heard this 10 million times, but the Temple of the Ocean King is just awful. It's tedious, it's repetitive, I really don't like it. I guess there's something to be said about building upon your knowledge. You go through it quicker and quicker, you know it a lot more, a lot better as you go through the game. But at the same time, you're going through the same thing over and over and over again. And I just... And the touchscreen controls are really hit or miss for me. I think that they improved kind of... They're pretty much the same in Spirit Tracks. But the story didn't grab me in Phantom Hourglass. Linebeck was the only character that really stood out to me in the game. And it, all in all, was kind of a forgettable experience. It just felt like they were trying to ride the wave of Wind Waker, and it just kind of fell flat for me. So, moving on up C rank, I'm going to put Skyward Sword. Because again, a lot of my gripes with a lot of these games is down to the controls, and I had an awful experience, and I think it's because of the Wii Remote that I used. The Wii Motion Plus attachment to the Wii Remote that I used was always glitching out and just being awful. So it made the game needlessly and almost unfairly difficult for me because it kept glitching out, it kept unsyncing, and it just was... Anytime I would try to swing this way, it felt like it was doing nothing like I wanted it to. I do think that has one of the best stories in the series. I think that characters like Groose are fantastic. I really like the idea of Skyloft, and I thought Zelda, while she wasn't in it that much, I thought that she was a really good incarnation of Zelda. I'm glad that we kind of got this background into the series where the trio of Ganondorf, Zelda, and Link kind of came from. But all in all, I just can't get past how poorly it controlled for me. So I'm gonna leave it at C. And then where would I put Spirit Tracks? Now, I'm actually gonna put Spirit Tracks at a C for right now, and at the end of the video, I'm gonna switch this around in case I change my mind as I start processing and talking through everything. But for right now, I'm gonna put it firmly at a C, because even though I had a lot of similar frustrations with this game that I had with Hourglass, I didn't really like the touch controls that much. I think overall the presentation was a lot better, and I loved how integral to the story this time Zelda actually was, actually acting as your companion. She had so much personality. And I think that the music in this game was a step up. I actually really liked the flute that you played throughout the game. I thought that that was a really interesting addition. I usually hate when the DS used the mic, but I thought that that one was a really good inclusion. And all in all, I thought that everything about it was just a bit more compelling than Phantom Hourglass. So I'm actually going to put Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. I have them at C, but I'm actually going to put them at a B, because these were actually my first Zelda games ever. My brother bought them and he let me play them. I had no idea the history of Legend of Zelda. I had no idea what it was. I just knew that the box art looked really cool. So Oracle of Seasons, or Ages, was the first one that I actually played for any concerted amount of time. And I think that they just really hold up. I really like the kind of puzzle-centric focus in Oracle of Ages versus the action combat oriented nature of Oracle of Seasons. And I think that they work really well in tandem with one another. I don't think that they would be good if they didn't have the other counterpart, because where Oracle of Ages lacks in hugely compelling combat, Oracle of Seasons thrives, and vice versa with puzzles. So these games, there's definitely a nostalgia kind of aspect to it. The Subrosions from Oracle of Seasons are still one of my favorite races in all of Zelda, and I would love to see those come back, maybe in Breath of the Wild too. Talk about that in my video a little bit, so go check it out. So I'm gonna keep them at a B for right now. And then I'm gonna put the original Legend of Zelda at a B, because I think that we have to give a decent amount of respect for the game that kicked it all off, and I've actually had a lot of fun with the original Legend of Zelda, just like kind of exploring around. I actually would get out a piece of paper and try and, I would print out the map, and I would X off places that I've kind of fully explored to try and find everything. And if I got really, really stuck, I'll admit I would use Google, but I think it's a really cool experience, and I love how you can clearly see echoes of that in every game in the series. So I think that because of the legacy of it and how I think it's genuinely still fun today, which is really impressive for an NES game, I think it deserves being at a B rank, for me at least. So A Link Between Worlds, I'm also going to put at a B for right now, because I feel like the B rank is kind of the non-committal place. B and C, it's a very non-committal zone, because I don't think it's... personally, I don't think it's one of the best Zelda games ever, but I definitely think it's really good. I had a lot of fun with it, but I just don't have much of a desire to play it again, and that might be because I just inherently enjoy A Link to the Past more, and they're very similar kinds of games, with A Link Between Worlds having obviously a lot more polish, a lot more to do. I really like the weapon system, how you get all of your kind of key items from Ravio, you buy them, and you have to sell them back. You can rent them if you don't want to commit too much money to it. So I thought that introduced a lot of really cool stuff, but I still just prefer A Link to the Past, which is weird because I actually played A Link to the Past after I played A Link Between Worlds. So you'd think that because I played the more polished, newer one first, I would like it better, but I'd say I like A Link to the Past more, just because it feels timeless. All of the mechanics feel timeless, and everything just feels really fun about it. It feels like a classic Zelda game, and I think I am biased kind of towards more retro games from time to time, because they do have that charm to it that newer polished games just don't have. I also think I hyped up A Link to the Past so much in my brain before playing it that I couldn't help but love it, because this is actually the most recent game that I've played in the Legend of Zelda franchise. So I think in my brain, I made myself love it, but I really liked all of the magic. I liked the spells. I liked the mechanics of switching between worlds and how they introduced that into dungeons and puzzles, and it really does feel like what set the... If we see the backbone of the series in the original Legend of Zelda, this is the muscle. This is what really fleshed out the series to make it what it is kind of today. So, moving on to the Minish Cap, I'm going to put that also at a B, just because this actually, I'm gonna put it at a C for right now. Because the Minish Cap, it just felt there was something a little bit off about some of it. I like a lot of the dungeon design. I like a lot of the story. I really do like Vati as a main villain. So he's a refreshing change of pace from Ganondorf. But I think that they could have done more with it. I didn't really like the Kinstone. Kinstone? I'm pretty sure they're called Kinstone system. I think that there was just a lot that could have been further explored or expanded upon throughout the course of the game. And that's about all I have to say about that. There's just a lot about it that was just kind of forgettable, and the dungeon design, like I said, I like it, but it wasn't the most difficult, it wasn't the most complex. The music was fantastic, but I just think it was missing something. Okay, we're getting down to it, and I have to zoom in really quickly. Okay, Link's Awakening. I'm gonna put that in S tier, first S tier, and the reason is, I think that this is the pinnacle of handheld Zelda games, if you're not counting Breath of the Wild, because that's kind of handheld kind of console. I'd call it a console one. But Link's Awakening was just so kind of subversive for even the Legend of Zelda franchise, where they subvert expectations a fair amount with their gameplay mechanics, like in Majora's Mask and a few other games. But this one completely turned itself on its head just for the sheer fact that you saw Yoshi, you saw Chain Chomps. It felt like they were just throwing stuff at a wall to see if they stuck, and like everything stuck. And it was just so interesting. And then the plot twist where the island of Koholint is actually just a dream, and by waking the windfish, the island would actually disappear. It adds this whole extra layer of, is what I'm doing right to get back to my world? I have to destroy this dream world. Is what I'm doing right here? I think that was so interesting and so mind-blowing. And I think that the dungeon design throughout the series the game was fantastic. I liked a lot of the bosses. There were some that were kind of forgettable. The final boss I wasn't too keen on, but I'll forgive it for how kind of quality the rest of the game was throughout. And I don't typically like the trade sequences in Zelda games, but this one's, I don't know, I just thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. So, next up, we have Twilight Princess, which I'm going to put in A rank for right now. Again, gonna be revising some of it as I go, but for right now, let's stick it in A rank. I'm actually replaying Twilight Princess right now because I think that it's going to have a lot of precedence with Breath of the Wild too. And I think that this game, like I said, the first games I ever played in the Legend of Zelda franchise were Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, but Twilight Princess is what made me fall in love with the franchise, because I think that this is the best hero's tunic that we see in the whole series. And I think that this is the best looking incarnation of Link. I think that this is, barring Breath of the Wild, the most epic adventure that we go on as Link. This is my favorite Ganondorf. I love so much about Twilight Princess. The story feels like it has genuine stakes throughout, and they consistently ramp up. And while a lot of people dislike the beginning of the game, I actually really love the slow burn of it, generally just because I think that getting a slice of life of Link before he's the hero of Twilight is really interesting and not something that we've really gotten to see before or since Twilight Princess. So seeing him as just like a ranch hand was really, really kind of new and cool. If you want to hear more about that, I actually have a video about that too, so go check that out. And now that I start to think about how much I like this game more and more, I think I'm gonna move it up to the, I know that this is an unpopular opinion, but I think I'm gonna move it up to the S tier. So, Wind Waker. I'm gonna put it at an A, because I think it would probably be S if I'd played the Wii U remake, but I haven't played the Wii U remake. I've only played the GameCube version, so quest to get the Triforce of Courage at the end of the game is just really, really awful, and I can't stand it. I think that visually, even the GameCube one holds up till today. I think the story is amazing. I think the ending is phenomenal. One of the best endings of any Zelda game. But that quest is just a slog, and I just don't want to replay it because of that slog. And for that, I think everything else, as a culmination, the first kind of open world adventure in a Zelda game, I'll keep it an A, but I can't put it any higher right now. And then Ocarina of Time, I'm going to put as an A also, because it feels a lot like A Link to the Past. It feels like it took a lot of those ideas and just expanded upon them in a 3D space. And don't get me wrong, this is probably the Zelda game that I've completed the most times by far. I love Ocarina of Time. I love the time travel aspect. I like how you see young Link turn to adult Link. I like in the Spirit Temple how you actually have to switch between the two to solve the temple. And I think that it innovated in so many fantastic ways that you can't put it below the A tier. With that being said, though, I think that the dungeons are some of the most iconic, but there was just a lot that didn't stand out. It's very much the cookie cutter Zelda game nowadays. At the time, it was the most phenomenal thing in the world, I'm sure. But right now, it feels very great, but undifferentiated, I guess, is how I would put it. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying that, but it's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have my opinion. So, Majora's Mask, S tier. So I think that Majora's Mask took what Ocarina of Time had and completely, like I kind of said with Link's Awakening, flipped it on its head. I think that all of the side quests, all of the side characters were so cool. Getting all of the masks, I didn't care that there were less dungeons because there was so much to do in this smaller, more condensed world. I loved filling out the Bomber's Notebook, finding all of the people, figuring out what their schedules were, and learning how to get all of these different masks so that I could get the Fierce Deity's mask by the end of the game. I thought that the world was just really interesting. The 3-day cycle was horrifying the first time I played it because I was pretty young when I played this one, and it genuinely stressed me out. And adding that level of stress to a Zelda game made you genuinely feel like there were stakes, like you had to do this or the world would end. And trust me, when I was first playing this game, the world ended a lot. So I think that adding those mechanics, making a much darker, grittier world without sacrificing the levity of the Legend of Zelda franchise, I think it just hit every note kind of perfectly. Except for the Great Bay Temple. That was really... I like to forget that didn't happen. And then last but not least is Breath of the Wild. Couldn't be anywhere else. This game is one of the most phenomenal games I've ever played in my life. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Zelda game. I think that it has its merits over a lot of the other Zelda games, but it's just, this is the Hyrule that we've always wanted. And the fact that you can really explore it to its absolute fullest. There's so many small little things that would be so easy to miss. You can interact with the races like the Zoras, the Gorons, the Gerudo in ways that you could only dream of in past Zelda games, and I think fleshing this world out that much more was such an amazing experience, and I cannot wait to see how they build upon that in the future. But that being said, I think that the temples were not great, and that's why I can't say that it's definitively the best Zelda game, because the Divine Beasts were just not good. They were fine, they were okay, but the bosses in them were just cookie cutter, they were bland, they were meh. But I think that the 120 shrines in the base game really made up for that. The DLC was fantastic. So, a phenomenal game. One of the best in the franchise, if not potentially the best. But it's not without its flaws, and I hope that Breath of the Wild 2 kind of course corrects that, the temples and the dungeons and some of these things that we kind of missed out on in Breath of the Wild, maybe some more enemy variants. And so let's go back through, see if there's anything that I would change in retrospect. I think that the only thing that I'm gonna change is I'm actually gonna move Minish Cap. I'm gonna move Skyward Sword up to B tier, because while I hated the control scheme, like I said, it had one of the best stories, it had a lot of merits, so I'm gonna move it back up to B. And that was my tier list for all of the Legend of Zelda games that I have played. If you like this video, you want to see more kind of content like this coming from this channel, then like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you don't, then, well, I can't really twist your arm to make you do that, but I would appreciate it. Have a great one. As always, I will see you next time. Later.